Hey, what's up, everybody? John and currently nameless Chicken here from Old Rennie Farm. Thanks for joining us. In today's video, we're going to go over 9 of our favorite flowers to grow for cut flower bouquets. Won't you join us? By the way, we put out videos every Monday and Friday, and we go live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and do all kinds of weird stuff. So, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment and let us know what you think. Let's get to it.
Falling asleep. Whoa! We hit 2,000 subscribers!
Woo! Thank you, everybody.
So to celebrate that on our Wednesday night live stream, we are going to be giving away seeds and eggs.
And an Old Rennie Farm bag.
So join us next Wednesday, date on screen, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Enter our giveaway to win seeds. Celebrate 2,000 people thinking that they like us enough to hit that subscribe button.
Couldn't do it without you.
Share this video so more people hit that subscribe button. Appreciate it.
All right, let's get into it.
All right.
All right.
So like John already told you in the intro, we are going to go over our 9 best cut flower varieties that we grew last year and that we're looking forward to growing this year.
Very much so. We also have our...
Yeah, excuse Spuddy Puppy in the background. I'm out of here. I don't even want to be in your stupid video.
So number 1 would be Dahlias.
Big surprise.
Yeah. They are just, it's one of those things that make a really big impact in a bouquet. They come in all kinds of colors. Sizes.
Shapes.
The stems are good and long and thick so they stay straight. Our dog is defective. Ah! Oh my god. What is happening? So they got long stems. They come in all different sizes, especially nice big. They make a really great visual impact. Colors, beautiful. How about growing?
They're pretty easy to grow in our experience, and I'll give a little disclaimer now. All of this is in our own experience, and if you have grown some of these things and hate them, that's okay. And if you think that there is something... Did anybody want a puppy?
Free to any home.
Any home. So if there's something that you grow that you think that we absolutely should have put on this list, leave it in the comments down below. But like I said, this is just our opinion, and if you do things differently, it's totally cool. We're all good. Okay, so Dahlias.
So Dahlias, yeah.
I think another thing that we really like about Dahlias is a lot of people have heard of them, they know what they look like, and when they see them, they want them. They have a pretty decent vase life, which is important in the cut flower, world and situation. Dahlias are a little bit more of an investment up front, which, if you don't want to make that investment, you could just get one, or you can look at dollar store Dahlias, just, anything to start, and then as they go, they will multiply themselves, because each year you pull out the tuber, unless you're lucky and you live in a warm zone where you can just leave them in the ground. In our growing climate, we have to pull them out of the ground, we store them in the basement, but we turn one tuber into, 5, 6, 7, who knows, and then we're also going to try to take cuttings of Dahlias this year.
And so this is also, we're coming at this from a market garden perspective, where we're growing cut flowers to sell in bouquets. If you're looking for just something to grow, I think this is also a great list, because we're going to, like we said, Dahlias, generally you buy a tuber, you stick it in the ground, it grows, you're good.
One last thing that I like about Dahlias is the more you cut them, the more they're going to bloom. They call that cut and come again, which means that the more you keep cutting it, the more it's going to keep blooming, which is very important if you're going to be cutting blooms to sell them.
Good on Dahlias?
Good on Dahlias.
All right, number 2, Zinnias. Those are definitely my favorite. Especially this past year, we had a couple... So we had a couple rows in our market garden, and then we also had kind of just a sea of zinnias behind our kale. So right now you're probably being taken to some footage where it wasn't the frozen tundra of January in Connecticut, and it was, June or July, and there's just a bunch of zinnias. Maybe here's a photo of like a butterfly on one of our zinnias, or one of our honeybees, or a bumblebee. They're just so colorful and so cool.
If you're thinking about growing market bouquets, almost every single person who you ask what your favorite flower is, when you're doing market bouquets, they're all going to tell you zinnias. These are workhorses. They're really easy to grow from seed. Some varieties are more disease resistant than others because we live in a rainy and humid climate, but if you live in a more dry climate, you're not going to have problems with powdery mildew, which is nice, and we're jealous of you.
Yes.
You can plant them pretty close together. The more you cut them, the more they're going to bloom. Each plant is going to give you a zillion blooms, the variety of colors, shapes, sizes. So there are smaller, like almost button-sized zinnias that you can get from like the Dollar Tree. Those are super easy to grow. If you know what gomphrena looks like, picture. These zinnias are sort of similar in size and shape, only now instead of needing to grow gomphrena, you can just grow these tiny little button zinnias. Zinnias also come so big that they can almost be dahlia sizes. A great type of huge zinnia is called Benary's or Benary's Giant. Those blooms are huge and they're loaded in petals. And the third type that I think are so cool are the Zinderella type. So they've got little thingies up on top and then petals all around. They're just so interesting. If you didn't know they were a zinnia, you might never guess it because they're so different than sort of your, basic, well, not that that's basic, that's not basic, than your sort of basic petally zinnia.
All right.
Number 3.
Amaranth. So we like all kinds of amaranth, but I think our favorite is the Coral Fountain or the Love Lies Bleeding amaranth.
It works both ways.
So we are, and I'll show some pictures of what our bouquets looked like last year, but we go for more of the, like, maybe you could say less traditional or just more wild looking bouquets. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of big and bold. And amaranth really creates that kind of wildness
and fun.
Right, it hangs out and drapes down, and it's really just something that you don't see all the time in regular flower bouquets. And I think you should see more of. I think amaranth is really cool. And
it comes in a lot of cool colors. It comes in this sort of purple and green. It comes in a sort of burnt orange. It comes in a really striking red. And we also in this hangy down type. This past year we did a lot of this coral. We're gonna do it again. We did less of this red, but we're gonna do it again. And I also have a green one, so I think that'll be super fun as well. So it's nice that it comes in all different colors, all different shapes, all different,
And the seeds are like prolific. So if you want to like save the seeds, mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. And also even this past year where we planted amaranth in 2019, amaranth grew in 2020. So like those seeds,
self-seeding.
Right, they survived the winter and they grew up. And like even so, there's the straight up amaranth and then the hanging down amaranth, and the straight up amaranth like adds a really nice punch of color or even just greenery, so filler to any kind of bouquet. So love the amaranth. Number 4 is peonies.
Peonies.
So I'm gonna have Catherine talk about peonies.
People love peonies. I can't even tell you how many people, when I was like, ooh, peonies, they told me that this was the flower that they had in their wedding, or it's their favorite flower, it reminds them of their mom, or whatever the case is. People know and love peonies. We ordered a ton of peonies that are in the ground, doing their thing over the winter, and we expect to get a ton of blooms from them.
And I only had to plant like half of them, which was great.
Yeah, that's true. Me and my mom, thanks Mom, banged out a ton of them.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. So in years past, what we do is we go to Home Depot and Lowe's type places at the end of the year or at the end of the growing season, and we pick up the cans of peonies that are on like 75% off because, maybe there's a bent stick or there's no blooms or just the prime season has passed. Stick them in the ground, let them do their thing. Hi Peanut. You won't get any flowers this year, but that's okay. Next year, ton of flowers. And one thing to note about peonies that's sort of nice is at the end of the year, they die back all the way to the ground. You cut them, clean them up, throw away the leaves, because if you don't, that can spread a little bit of disease. So cut them off, throw away the leaves, and they will grow totally fresh, new growth every single year, which is, nice.
Choice. Mm-hmm. Number 5 is Nepeta. My favorite thing about Nepeta is that the bees absolutely love it.
This might be something that's not on every flower farmer's list. We don't know how to grow it from seed. The only way we've grown it is from we buy it on pots and clearance, stick them in the ground, but they grow so well and healthy early in the spring. So when we're sort of struggling to fill our bouquets, Nepeta is like, I'm here for you guys. I've got you. It lasts forever in the vase. It doesn't need special conditioning. Some flowers you need to cut at like a really specific stage in order to get the best vase life. Nepeta is like, I'm here for you. I'm going to keep it moving. And it just lasts forever. And it's also in this zone a perennial. So for lazy farmers, don't know we're here. But in case that's your move, plant it once, keep it moving. You're done with it forever.
Number 6, Cosmos.
Cosmos. So cosmos come in a bunch of different shapes and colors and not so much sizes. They're all fairly small, but isn't it fun that you can get, pink, yellow, black, orange, all from, one type of seed. They grow super easily. These seeds you can direct seed, which I really, really like. So again, lazy farmers don't want to be starting a ton of seeds. Sprinkle, sprinkle, grow, flowers, cut and come again. Keep it moving. They're not huge. They don't add a ton of value to a bouquet, but they've got really super long, nice, super wild stems. So they add a lot of excitement to a bouquet. So yeah. And even when their flower petals fall off, they still leave a little round seed head. And then after that's done, it leaves an actual seed head, which is also some interesting texture. These seeds are also really easy to save. So if you're in the market to only buy seeds one single time and then save them forever and keep planting them, Cosmos.
Number 7 is sunflowers. Everybody loves a good sunflower. So we actually did not have a ton of success with sunflowers in 2020, mainly because for some reason, chipmunks and rodents just went crazy and they ate all of our seeds. So I think one of the things that we would suggest is maybe some kind of fencing or, no dig, whatever. Something to protect the seeds because animals got them before they could even grow. But in years past, we've grown them great. I mean, I think everybody knows a sunflower. Sunflowers are always super exciting. Everybody recognizes it, at least around here, as a signal of summer and spring and just, it's just one of those things. Everybody likes a sunflower.
And sunflowers, when you're shopping for flowers for cut gardening, they come in 2 varieties. There's either a single stem, which will give you a single flower, or a branching variety. So when you're shopping for your sunflowers, make sure you know which you're getting. Both are okay. But if you get single stem, you need to succession plant, because if you get, 100 seeds of pro-cut white, those are all going to bloom at one time, and they're only going to bloom once. So you would have 100 pro-cut white sunflowers, which would be really, really good that day or that week. But then for the rest of your season, if you didn't succession plant, you're not going to have anything. So if you don't want to succession plant, try something that's branching, because then you can, cut one of the side branches and still have a bunch more. Or if you're going to do the single stems, like the pro cuts, you just want to make sure you're succession planting.
And so that means you plant 25 one week, plant 25 the next week or whatever, so that you have continual blooms over a certain period of time.
Right. And another thing that's nice about the pro cut, that's a line of sunflowers, and we got a ton of them on the way because we are going to do sunflowers better this year. They are pollenless. So some varieties of sunflowers will drop their pollen. So if you're giving somebody a cut bouquet to take to their house and they're going to put it on their kitchen table, if it makes a big mess, they kind of might be like, Kat and John made a big mess on my table, and they might not want to come back. Or it's also important, and I'm sure if you're doing weddings, I'm sure you know this, but if you're doing weddings, you do not want to be giving a bride a sunflower that's going to be dropping a bunch of yellow pollen all over her white dress. So
you think they might be upset by that?
It's just something you might want to keep in mind.
Number 8, Yarrow.
Yarrow.
So, Yarrow, tell me about Yarrow.
So in our growing zone, this is a perennial, which is something that we like. It's very easy to grow from seed. and it's a first year blooming perennial. So some perennials, when you plant them from seed and they're flowering perennials, may not flower in their first year. Yarrow is not that flower. So you're gonna plant it early in the spring, you know, before your frost date. After your frost date, you're gonna plant it out, and before summer is over, you're gonna start having blooms. What we got last year was this Colorado mix, so it's a mix of pinks and yellows and whites and darker pinks, and it came from Johnny's Select Seed. Love them so much. And it was a workhorse for us. It was a really nice filler. It added interesting texture. The flower heads can be pretty big, or they can be a little bit smaller, but it's nice to have that variety. So if you need something big, you have it, but if you want to break off some of the, you know, side branches and make it smaller and just tuck it in, works that way too.
There you go. Last but not least, number 9 is kind of combo fall bulbs, tulips, and daffodils. Take it away. Well, no, I know, the only thing I know about tulips and daffodils is that there's some point in the year where boxes keep showing up to our house with more and more tulips and daffodils.
And you're going to thank me in the spring.
I will. Because
you people, I mean.
Well, I think it's fine too, because do they both bloom early in the spring?
Yes.
So they bloom early in the spring, so those are things, and I think like last year, one of the things that we wish we had more of, which Catherine has taken care of for this year, is for Mother's Day. So we, I think, under-anticipated the demand that people would have for flowers from us for Mother's Day. So I think the plan was, you know, this year, 2021, we're going to try to get a lot more early blooming things, because we only had a couple of things that were ready that early in the spring, you know, because Mother's Day is generally where we are, which is zone 6B. That's like the usual like safe planting time for after our last frost.
For frost tender things,
right.
Yeah.
So it's not a great time of year for flowers, but tulips and daffodils are two of those things that would work. Plus, I mean, they're such classic flowers, you know, and they're you plant them in the ground and they come back every year.
Yeah, so in this area, daffodils naturalize or come back every year really easily and freely. The tulips, especially some of the like fancier varieties, may not come back as strong every year. A lot of real flower farmers treat tulips as annuals, so when they take out their tulips, some of them even dig the entire bulb out to give them as long of a stem as possible, and that bulb will also help keep the bloom fresher longer, so in case they're shipping them or storing them, that bulb can feed the flower for longer. That's not what we're doing. We are selling them at the end of the driveway, and we're usually doing it, not usually, we're always doing it the day we pick them.
Yeah.
So the tulips will have lovely vase life without the bulb attached to them for our customers. Some of them will come back the next year, but not reliably. But you know, some will, so it's still good.
Yeah, anything that self-seeds or that comes back the next year after you plant it is a plus in my book.
Saves you a little bit of money.
Saves you a little bit of money, less holes to dig. The only thing you got to do is remember that you planted them there.
That was our list of our 9 favorite flowers to grow for cut flower market gardening. Your list might be different, and I want to hear about it. You tell me what flowers I should be growing so I can go shopping for seeds, bulbs, whatever.
I thought you just wanted to know for like knowledge's sake.
Leave me a comment down below. Knowledge is power. So leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think I should be growing this coming year. And you've now heard my list of all my favorite things. And next Friday, we're going to tell you my least favorite flowers for cut flower growing.
No shade.
No shade. Thanks very much for watching this video. We so appreciate it. Like it. Tell me what else I should grow in the comments. Catch you next time.
Thanks for stopping by.
So those are the 9 flowers that we feel are the best for us to grow for cut flower growing.
Totally related flowers.
Oops. Oh. God. Puppy fell off the couch.
It's going to be a lot of editing in this video.
This is bloops at the end. And they call that cut and come again. And they call that cut.
Are you joking? Get a job! What do they call it?
They call that cut and come again.